Good afternoon and welcome to Larry. No, I'm not Larry. You could probably tell by now. I'm Corey Inganamort, filling in for my good buddy Larry. We've been longtime friends, longtime colleagues here at Town Hall, and it is my great honor to have the reins of his show for a little while. Thanks, Larry. I hope you're enjoying your vacation right now, sipping a margarita somewhere on a warm beach. Nobody works harder than Larry, so he deserves this. I wish him well. But there are so many things to cover, so much breaking news, especially over the last 24 hours. I can't wait to jump right into it. Let's get started. All right, so after 43 days of Democrats keeping the government shut, yes, 43 days of a Democrat-controlled shutdown, we have finally reopened. Yes, passed the House last night. President Trump signed it into law late last night. And what the hell was all of this for? What was this drama? What was this arguing, infighting? Why did so many people have to suffer? Did Democrats get anything out of this? Like anything? Well, no, the answer was not. They got nothing. In fact, October 16th, weeks ago, Democrats were given the same exact proposal to open the government from what they got just yesterday, but they decided to keep it closed for how many more weeks since then? They got absolutely nothing. Democrats got rolled. Trump, Mike Johnson, John Thune, they all got a major victory last night. And what was it all for? Like, why was all the suffering needed? I mean, 750,000 federal employees were on unpaid leave. They, yes, it's back paid, but these employees, they have to put food on their tables. Maybe they had to go further into debt. It was completely unnecessary. The Congressional Budget Office, mind you, this is always a left-wing leaning group. It always skews the statistics to the left. They estimated that the shutdown cost $14 billion in permanent economic losses, and GDP was lost up to 2% just because of this shutdown. Again, completely unnecessary. It delayed millions of dollars to small businesses for the loans that they were applying for. About 300 small businesses per day were being rejected when they would normally be accepted. 5.2 million flight delays or cancellations over this time. We all know how frustrating that is. And it's going to take time to get all of these air traffic controllers and airport staff back to their regular programming jobs, right as Thanksgiving is around the corner. So much frustration, completely unnecessary. And 42 million Americans lost their food stamp benefits. Democrats call it SNAP now. I mean, I guess that's the technical term, but we all know it as food stamps. We know it is 42 million. If nothing else comes from this government shutdown, I think we need to have a serious look from within on the Republican Party, why 1/8 of the country, yes, 1/8 of the country are receiving SNAP benefits. Did you know that? I didn't know it was that high. And you and I were looking probably at videos on X and Twitter of all these, Trump would call them high-caloried people. Another maybe term would be horizontally challenged people. They don't look like they're starving. Why were they on SNAP to begin with? I think we need to have a serious discussion about taking all of these people who don't need more food off of the system. We're going to have if nothing comes of this waste of time government shutdown, I think a much more serious look into this problem. You wonder why food isn't decreasing in price as much as it should be, why beef is still high. Maybe because the government is subsidizing the cost for all of this. Like, let's take a serious look. But again, Democrats got nothing. They took the deal that they were offered weeks ago, caused all of this suffering. So was it worth it? Was it worth it, Democrats? What's your honest opinion? Well, a couple senators in Democrat states decided to say, yeah, it actually was worth it. Here's John Hickenlooper from Colorado and Jack Reed from Rhode Island saying, yeah, we'd do it again, basically.
Shutdown worth it? Yeah, I think so. I hate it. But yeah, it was worth it, definitely. We got people to pay attention to the fact that this is a traumatic, in many cases, life or death situation for people all over this country. Was the shutdown worth it?
I think it was, because I think the perception, we made it clear that this, not just the healthcare issue, but the whole issue.
Did any of that make sense? Yeah, we caused trauma, but it was worth it. And they ended up not getting anything that they asked for, basically. All right, they wanted $1.5 trillion in added spending for what? Illegal alien healthcare, funding for government propaganda, aka NPR and PBS. They didn't get that either. And they wanted the continuation of Obamacare subsidies, which were supposed to be from the very start temporary. It's their law that they enacted. These were temporary supplemental dollars. They were supposed to expire. So if we can't get serious about stopping temporary spending that were always supposed to be and intended to be temporary, how can we ever get serious as a country, as a party, not just Democrats, but Republicans? How can we ever get serious about actually cutting the deficit and cutting our spending when even the temporary subsidies must continue, according to Democrats? It's just not a serious party. And it just wasn't a serious proposal that the Democrats kept continuing to force down our throats. And they got embarrassed. And thank you, Donald Trump and Mike Johnson and John Thune. Your party really stuck together. It was actually quite refreshing to see this. You know, we're so used to a Republican Party with weak knees and I don't know. We're really starting to feel the pressure. They stood up to this madness, and it's about time they have a backbone and a spine to actually do so. The Democrats know they lost this fight because look at the way they're treating their leader, Chuck Schumer, right now. How many of them are calling for him to resign, to step down? Should no longer be in leadership. I mean, you had 8 Democrats in the Senate who ended up voting with Republicans to reopen this government. Tim Kaine, Jeanne Shaheen, Maggie Hassan, Catherine Cortez Masto, John Fetterman, Dick Durbin, and Angus King. He says he's an independent, but he caucuses with Democrats. So 8 Democrats. And what is the Democrat Party doing to them? Shaming them, shunning them, calling for them to be primaried. They want them the hell out of office because the progressive left is used to getting their way and bullying their way into positions that are just not that popular. And what do all these Democrats have in common with each other? Well, none of them are up for re-election or they're retiring. So these Democrats maybe for once weren't worried about their next election, which 2 or 4 or however many years from now, they don't necessarily have to worry about this. It'll be forgotten about. This shutdown will be forgotten about 4 years from now. Maybe they were thinking what was actually best for the country. And it is. The government needs to run. Okay? So props to them. They're facing this massive front from the Democrats, the progressive left. Lots of pressure. They actually stood up to them. Chuck Schumer has not. Chuck Schumer is not because he's worried about AOC and this progressive left caucus replacing Chuck Schumer. I mean, AOC, they say, she might want to run for Senate, and she'd probably have a good chance of beating Chuck Schumer. He's the least popular Senate leader in modern history, the pollings are showing. I don't think AOC necessarily wants that job. Maybe president. I'm not even sure she wants that job either, but I think she's going to run, and I think she's going to mainstream her policies. I mean, look, Zohran Mamdani, a communist, just won in New York City, America's biggest, greatest city. Seattle just elected a communist, socialist. She calls herself a socialist, Katie Wilson, in Seattle. There is a growing popularity among this progressive left, and it's becoming more mainstream. That's what I'm worried about. Mike Johnson last night was talking about, Zohran Mamdani, AOC, starting to, have higher profiles. Because Zohran is about to take office, I'm a bit worried that AOC, because she actually finally has someone to the left of even her, is going to be more palatable for the rest of America. We should not mainstream this. We should not normalize this. They all should be ostracized, shunned, and kicked the hell out of office. But there is a growing popularity, obviously, within the progressive left. And AOC is becoming more popular because Democrats to the left of her are being elected. It's crazy sauce. So Brandon Gill last night, right before the government reopened, he had a couple words to say, trying to link the Democrat Party to AOC and Zohran Mamdani. And here's how that goes. Let's take a look.
It was great to hear from the new leader of the Democrat Party, Mrs. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Unfortunately, we didn't also get to hear from their other leader, Mr. Zohran Mamdani. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to be proud this evening to vote to reopen the federal government.
House should be in order.
Mr. Speaker, for 40 days, the Democrats shut our government down to pursue unrealistic policy proposals that they know the American people do not want. Mr. Speaker, the American people do not want health care for illegal aliens. They do not want our tax dollars funding left-wing media outlets, and they do not want to drive up our debt $1.5 trillion as part of a short-term continuing resolution. Mr. Speaker, the last 40 days have been nothing but pure political nihilism, and I'm glad that this nightmare is over so that we can get back to work on behalf of the American people.
I love Brandon Gill. He's hilarious. He has an innate talent, not so much in this clip, which was also very talented, but he's got a talent to repeat Democrat words back to them and embarrass them with their own words. One of my favorite clips of him, he was asking J.B. Pritzker, the high-calorie human from Illinois, the governor who, wants open borders and, sanctuary city status and all this whatever crap that he prefers. He's Brandon Gill, or I'm sorry, J.B. Pritzker once tweeted, in protest of Trump's anti-trans policies that everyone should use the opposite bathroom. And Brandon Gill read that words back to him in testimony, and he said, "Sir, do you think that you should use the opposing bathroom today?" He's like, got him all. I digress. We do the weave a little bit, but he is so good at repeating words back to Democrats and embarrassing them. So here he is bringing up Zohran Mamdani, AOC. The whole room is jeering, and you can sense they're a bit nervous about this progressive left gaining popularity, and that means their jobs are on the line. Either they got to get along on board with their policies, or they'll be replaced and primaried. So props to Brandon Gill. I find that hilarious. They're just constantly being embarrassed and losing. And another way that we know that they lost yesterday, and it was a very good day for Republicans, an embarrassing day for Democrats, is all the stuff they're throwing against the wall and hoping it sticks. So in an attempt to distract from Republicans' big victory yesterday, you saw the latest bombshell report from the Jeffrey Epstein documents. You saw that come out yesterday? An absolutely ridiculous report from the Democrat Oversight Committee. They released an email yesterday from April 2nd, 2011. It was Jeffrey Epstein emailing Ghislaine Maxwell. Anytime they can bring this Epstein disgusting story, try to link it to Trump, they will, except every time they do, it backfires and they keep stepping on rakes because nobody believes this crap anymore. It's Russia, Russia, Russia all over again. So the email said this, according to Democrats. This is what they released. Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Okay, interesting. That sounds pretty damning, huh? Some victim of Jeffrey Epstein said that Trump is a dog that doesn't bark. Who could have possibly said this? And if the Democrats know who said this, then why didn't they release it? Well, we have answers to that. The answer to that is it was Virginia Giuffre. She was the redacted name who made these Jeffrey Epstein was talking about to Ghislaine Maxwell. It was the Republican Party, the Oversight Committee, who released the documents to include the unredacted name. Why wouldn't Democrats want Virginia Giuffre's name in the report that they released? Well, the answer is quite obvious. Giuffre had testified multiple times that President Trump did nothing and that she never even saw him at Epstein's house. Seems kind of relevant if you're releasing information about Virginia Giuffre, redacting her name so that people don't know who we're actually talking about. Seems kind of relevant. But Democrats didn't include that. They're trying to stir up the pot. But this is backfiring. This is backfiring because people see through this crap by now. So last night, or yesterday, not yesterday afternoon, the Republicans Oversight Committee, they released 23,000 pages of more Epstein documents. And it was Tim Burchett, the congressman from Tennessee, who we all know and love. He said the Democrats were trying to block the release. He tried to do a unanimous consent within the Congress, but it was the Democrat to release all of the documents, but it was the Democrats who blocked it. Why? Ask yourself why. Maybe it's because Democrats are implicated in these documents and they don't want it to get released. We already know Joe Biden would have released this information. He tried everything in the book. All right, they tried to jail him. They tried to embarrass him. You don't think if on the campaign trail Joe Biden had dirt on Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein that it wouldn't have been released? I mean, come on, you got to be kidding me. Jasmine Crockett, she was on, I believe this was on CNN. Yeah, CNN, Wolf Blitzer. She was asked about this. You know, why did Democrats redact this name, Virginia Giuffre? Take a listen to her response. We'll react on the other side to see if this makes any sense at all.
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand, okay, but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
Her truth. I love that, by the way. It's either the truth or not the truth. But Jasmine Crockett is either playing dumb or is dumb, or the most likely scenario is she's both. Two dumbs don't make a smart in this case. She's just a little extra dumb, I guess. Why was the name redacted? She tried to play as if she didn't know it was the Democrats that redacted the name. It wasn't the original report that was redacted. Republicans released the original report. Democrats were the one who tried to get Virginia Giuffre's name eliminated from the report. So she's stepping on rakes. Democrats are stepping on rakes, and it's all in an effort to distract from the big political win that Republicans had yesterday. And it's a shame. What are they saying? That Virginia Giuffre was lying when she testified that she didn't see Donald Trump ever at the Epstein Island? She's trying to say that she perjured herself even after her death, which, earlier this year, she committed suicide. Awful, awful, awful. We want justice for her and all of the victims. But making up some garbage that it was Trump involved, no. I don't know how many times we've got to play this game. They've got nothing on him. If they did, it would have been released by now, Jasmine. So nice nails, by the way. She's always got her nails nice and did. It's crazy. One of the Democrats who aren't that crazy lately is John Fetterman, the U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania. He represents a purple state. It's gone red recently, but he's obviously a Democrat. But he seems to be the only Democrat with the voice of sanity right now. Remember, he was suffering from depression while he was on the campaign trail. He took some time off. He went to go get some mental health, and he came back basically a Republican. Coincidence? Probably not. But he was on with Dana Bash just yesterday. And this should surprise nobody. Doesn't surprise you, I'm sure. It certainly doesn't surprise me. He was saying how, during this whole government reopening debate, it was actually the Democrats who were giving him more hate, violent rhetoric, sliding into his DMs, calling his office, sending emails. it was the Democrats who were acting super unhinged and violent during this debate. It wasn't the Republicans. Let's hear it in his own words. Here's John Fetterman with Dana Bash.
Write about that in your book. You said, quote, "I've drunk deeply of the venom of both the left and the right. As a connoisseur, I can confirm that the most poisonous, the bitterest, is from the far left." That is pretty remarkable to hear you say that as an elected Democrat. Why?
No. It's just been my personal experience on this thing. And when I asked my digital team, I said, we're on all the platforms. Really, what's kind of the harshest? What's kind of the most personal? And the answer was immediate. He said, "Oh, blue sky. It's blue sky." And the difference is, the right would say really rough things and names. Some names I won't repeat on TV, but the on the left, it was like they want me to die, or that we're cheering for your next stroke, or that's terrible that depression won. Why couldn't it depression won? And I hope your kids find you. They even have like the graphic, a GIF where they have like a stroke, in your head, cheering at that. Yeah, and they said that. I remember one. They claimed, "Oh, the doctor let us down," and why did they have to save his life? Just really, I just can't imagine. People are wishing, I wish he dies, or I want him to die. Literally cheering for a stroke. And I don't know what the kind of a place where that comes from. That's much different than just calling me a name. That's really been consistent, in that community online.
There's Dana Bash, all stone-faced, super serious. She calls it remarkable, and she acts surprised. Oh my God, she knew. She knows the violence is coming from the left. I'm actually surprised she asked that question, because she knew the answer already before she asked it. Wishing death upon a senator, that's just absolutely awful. I would never do that. I would never do that for anybody. My worst enemy. I have enemies. I wouldn't wish that. But it's kind of consistent, right? Look at the examples of Democrat violence on the left. They tried to kill our president at least twice that we know of, in Butler, Pennsylvania, and in West Palm Beach in Florida. They assassinated Charlie Kirk because they didn't agree with his ideas. Charlie Kirk's, all he's ever done is talked. You have, I don't know how many Trantifa terrorists going into schools and shooting up Catholic school children. Remember, it was just in August in Minneapolis, the Annunciation Catholic school shooter. Remember Robin Westman, a transgender shooter? He had written on his guns Antifa slogans, 6 million wasn't enough. You got in Nashville that transgender shooter, Aubrey Hale. These are not Republicans. These are Democrats. Just in Virginia, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, I live in Virginia. My Commonwealth just elected a man who wished death upon his political opponents and wished that his children would die in his mother's arms. And you know what? Democrats said, that's no problem. We're going to elect the guy. We're going to just make him in charge of law in our state. It's unbelievable. And in hindsight, by the way, we're thinking, oh, maybe Winsome Sears will lose, but Jason Miyares might beat this Jay Jones guy. There'll be some moral clarity between Democrat voters when they split their ticket. How dumb was I to think that? Democrats don't have moral clarity. They're never going to go, okay, I'm going to vote for Abigail Spanberger, but I can't vote for the guy that, wants to kill his opponent's kids. We should have known better. There is no moral clarity among the left. And the left will say, oh, there's violence on the right too. There's violence on the right. Melissa Hortman, she was Minnesota's Speaker of the House on the House side. She was murdered. Her husband was murdered, but the murderer had no political affiliation. In fact, he actually worked for Tim Walz. He worked for Tim Walz at some point. It wasn't a right-winger attacking her family. It was personal. It was disgusting. It should be condemned. But that's not some right-winger violence. No way. And they'll say, oh, Josh Shapiro's home got burned down. Well, the guy who burned down the home, He was a leftist. He didn't like Josh Shapiro because he was Jewish and he wasn't pro-Palestine enough. It's not the same. They are much more violent, and we need to realize that. John Fetterman realizes that. Dana Bash does too. She just acted surprised. She just acted surprised. We just saw, I know on Larry's show he played recently, Cheryl Hines, RFK Jr.'s wife, said the same thing. You know, those are Democrats. And when they ran when RFK ran as a Democrat to primary Joe Biden, he was met with nasty, nasty hate, death threats, the whole like. And mind you, this is the party that's protecting democracy. They had to kick RFK Jr. out of the primary race, and just insert Kamala Harris. We digress. But there is a dangerous left out there that we all know exists. And I think finally, maybe CNN viewers, they're all in their tunnel. They think everything's fine on their side. Hopefully they get exposed to that side too. Exposed to the side that, oh, actually we do have a problem and we should look internally. And maybe we shouldn't call all of our opponents fascists and Nazis and Hitler. Maybe if we repeat that lie enough, people will actually believe it and then, act on it. Duh. We know that crazy people will act on random requests like that. It's just awful. It's awful. Hey, have we seen this new superstar? Her name is Tish Hyman. This is the woman who belonged, she was kicked out, to a Gold's Gym in California. There was a man pretending to be a woman that was using her locker room, and she just made a scene, which is what people need to do. She went to the front. There is a man in the locker room, and Gold's Gym isn't kicking him out. They're revoking my gym membership. Good on Tish James. I'm sorry, not Tish James. Wrong Tish. We don't like that. We don't like Big Tish. Tish Hyman is her name. So she actually attended an event that Scott Wiener, that crazy leftist, weirdo-looking guy from California, he's a state senator. His biggest accomplishments and goals is to neuter more children, call it gender-affirming care, and live in this crazy, weird society, which somehow is accepted in San Francisco. He wants to take Nancy Pelosi's House seat when she retires. This is a dangerous, dangerous individual. But he was holding a little town hall meeting. Tish Hyman decided to show up and speak to a whole bunch of people in that room who agreed with Scott Wiener and his crazy, weird, disgusting policies. I want to play this video. We'll react halfway through, and I got a few thoughts on this that I can't wait to share with you. So here's Tish Hyman speaking with Scott Wiener.
Senator Wiener, as the only black lesbian here, can I please ask you a question because I flew here to do that? Yeah. Okay. As a lesbian woman who was attacked in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman with a documented history of domestic violence, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their safety will be protected from men who, by California law, can self-ID as women in women-only spaces, sir? Please tell me.
Yeah, so we want, everyone to be safe, and we also know that, we have trans people, both men and women, who are men and women, and so so if you're trans women are women.
Senator, you've done great things with the bills you've passed with the housing. I've read a lot of your bills, and like you said, there are bills that need to be opened up, and I'm telling you now, millions of women across America are being harassed and sexually assaulted in locker rooms. I'm a lesbian black woman. I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic, and I do.
Can we pause it here for a sec, Kev? All right, so what I find hilarious about this video is you have a whole room of leftists. They're there. They obviously agree with Scott Wiener, but Tish Hyman is using buzzwords that they're automatically cloned to agree with. I am a black lesbian. Well, oh my goodness, Tish Hyman is part of the marginalized community. She checks 2 boxes right there. So I should agree with her. But she's saying things I don't agree with. What do I do? The panic on these people's faces. I always support black lesbians. How can she possibly disagree with me? And which side am I supposed to take? They're so confused. They're so confused. And I love the look of panic in this room as she starts to, disagree with Scott Wiener, loses her temper a little bit. This room has no idea what to do. Please go on.
But I do see a lot of these bills that you've passed that are dangerous for women and young children. And I understand that you're trying to be on a level playing field. And I'm here to represent my community because I hear a lot of things about my community in these bills. And I'm telling you as a woman, first and foremost, that this is dangerous and we need your help because you're in the office, you're gonna go in the Polisky spot. I wanna support you. I have millions of people behind me watching this right now. And we wanna know, are you going to protect women? Not trans women, women. Trans women are different things. Women. Listen, we need to protect women's safety. I was assaulted. I was assaulted. No, they are not. They are men. I was assaulted by men. He broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery. I'm a lesbian. I'm not transphobic and I'm black. So if there's another black woman in here who wants to tell me how they feel, please join in. But all of you are not. And I don't know who you are, what you are, but I'm a lesbian, and I'm telling you right now, men are harassing women in the locker room.
Let's let him answer the question.
I'm just telling you, since y'all want to woo.
No, just let's.
Now I'm done. And by the way, I respect what you have done. I just want to let you know that.
Let's give the senator the opportunity.
I'm done.
I appreciate your point of view.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry that you were harassed,
Multiple times.
and I appreciate you talking about it. I think we need to protect the safety of all women, and that obviously that's incredibly important. And I also know that trans women are also brutalized in this country. So women and cisgender women are brutalized in this country, and we have to protect the safety of all women.
We have to protect women. We cannot be raped in the bathrooms by men that want to say they're women. They're not women. They're not women. I'm leaving. It's okay, but I'm not going to take it. I am leaving because you know what? You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But this things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go Tish Hyman. I love it because this woman's clearly not a Republican. She agrees with Scott Wiener and a lot of his things, and she keeps repeating the fact that she's a black lesbian. Nobody cares. On the right, nobody cares. The room is so confused. And what's funny is that, they're kind of speaking over each other because, she's talking about women and Scott Wiener is also talking about women, but included in that definition of women are men who pretend to be women. So they're talking over each other. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. But Scott Wiener, he's sitting with his legs crossed. No man should ever sit. I don't know if that's even possible to sit like that. His colored socks right up. It's just disgusting. So I love seeing them fight over this against each other. Trans women are not women. Trans women are obviously men pretending to be women. We all know that. I actually sell a shirt on that. By the way, check out my Twitter if you don't mind. It's my pinned tweet. I have a shirt. It says trans women are men. I know Larry covered this a couple months ago when I went to a Arlington school board meeting, and I yelled out to a group of transgender advocates. They want more neutered kids and men to expose themselves in locker rooms. I said, "There's no such thing as transgender children, only mentally ill parents." And the whole place went nuts, and I was shunned. And they said I'm a bully and all that kind of stuff, but. I come from the Kurt Schlichter school of thought. In this case, we should be bullies. We should mock, shame, ridicule, shun from society. There should be no place for this thought in America. And the only way we actually get rid of it is to mock them and mock their families while you're at it. I mean, there's no place for this. So I want to go on a little rant, if you don't mind, about LGBT stuff. I'm going to guess you don't know this about me, but I'm actually gay. Okay. I'm a dude who's attracted to dudes. You probably didn't know that because my voice doesn't sound like that. I didn't put glitter on my cheeks before I began this show. I didn't even ask Kevin to change the intro song to Lady Gaga or Dua Lipa. It's also not the first thing I told you when I introduced myself, which is pretty common in the gay community. But yeah, I'm a dude who's attracted to dudes. If you want to turn the show off, that's fine. That's okay. But I think you're going to want to hear my perspective because I cannot stand the LGBT community. Okay? I don't associate myself with it. I want nothing to do with it. And they've done so much damage to this country. There is nothing more detrimental to gay people, and if they're fighting for gay marriage, than what the transgender community is doing to it. Okay? There is a difference between LGB, who you're attracted to, versus T, a dude who thinks he's a woman. They actually have nothing in common. And it's the transgender community that is dragging down every LGBT issue that exists. Okay? Gay support for gay marriage, it was actually at an all-time high, 4, 5, 6 years ago, something like that. Generally, the public has come to accept it. Whether you do or not, that's okay. If you think marriage should be between a man and a woman, that's okay. It doesn't come from a hateful position, in my opinion, and I'm not going to stop talking to you because of that. Like, we may disagree on certain things here and there, but it doesn't come from a position of hate. What the transgender community is doing is latching on to someone's sexual attachment, sexual preference, LGB. What they do is latch on to that and drag everything down because, support for gay marriage keeps declining because everybody associates the groups together. They actually have nothing to do in common. And the left loves including the T's with the LGBs because, well, maybe the T's will get more accepted. And meanwhile, the right loves to include the LGBs with the T's because maybe support will decline if they're considered together. Nobody agrees with this trans crap. A dude who's attracted to a dude does not want dudes to be able to expose themselves to women in their locker rooms. There's separate spaces for that. And it's incredibly harmful to link the two together. When a trans shooter goes to Nashville or Minneapolis and shoots up the place because they're suffering from mental illness, the media and the left love to say that this person was from the LGBT community. Well, guess what? I have nothing to do with the mental illness that the trans community has. Nothing. And it is dangerous to link us together because who suffers? The gays. Okay? I wish there were more gays that would separate and say, no, we want nothing to do with you. And in fact, the trans agenda in itself is homophobic at its core. Because what do they do when they see young boys who, I don't know, maybe skips in the hallways or talks with a little bit of a lisp? They don't see that person as a potential, adult who might be gay. No, they see them as a recruit. Growing up to be happy and gay, that's not an option to them. You need to grow up as a woman. And essentially, they're eliminating gay people from existing. It is. There's no such thing as trading genders. Like, it's just not a thing. There's no such thing as transgender. And this is the hill I'm willing to die on. Okay? And then, you know what it also upsets me? Is that the right adopts terms and the left adopts terms like biological man. This is a biological man using a women's locker room. There is no need to use the word biological when discussing what a man is. We all know what a man is. We all know what a woman is. Why do we have to add an extra adjective to, make the left happy? So we can really specify what kind of man it is. If we're actually going to add an adjective among those who are transgender or those who are not transgender, let's add it to the ones who think they transitioned. Let's call them a fake man or a fake woman, but we know what a man is and we know what a woman is. That should be the basis. We're not changing the English language because you think someone can change their sex. It's absolutely absurd to me. It's disgusting, and we need to put an end to it. That's my rant. Okay. So thank you for listening. And I think we'll leave the show there. I'm going to be back on Monday again. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to spend as much time with you as I am allowed because this has been an absolute blast. So thank you for spending some time with me. Kev, do we have any super chats today?
We have one. Thanks, Corey, for filling in today. We have one super chat, but I also want to put up a couple other ones that I thought were funny just to banter a little bit.
Awesome. This guy looks like Larry 15 to 20 years ago, minus the glasses. Hey, I'll take that. But Pete's Girl 420, I think our hairlines are similar. I'm asking Larry for advice on this. I'm 50 to 20 years younger, but our hairlines are similar. So thanks for that. I appreciate it. Larry looking younger. Thank you. I won't tell him that. Hopefully he doesn't see that later. And is that Kevin? No, Kevin, you heard his glorious, beautiful voice, but my name's Corey Inganamort. Kev, we should have you join in here one of these days. Would the people like to see that?
One of these days, I'll hop on.
All right. Well, if you haven't seen Kevin in a while, he is growing the most beautiful, magnificent stash, and it would be a disservice to this audience for him not to share that with you. Whoa, Larry is on, and you got a facelift and a voice modulator change. Is my voice too high? Should I be more like Larry?
No, Larry comes from show business. He might have the higher voice, actually.
That beautiful baritone of Larry. I'm trying to get lower. No, you, Stumble Boots. I get a $2 donation. Wow, that was a super chat. Thank you so much. That's my first one ever. My very first one ever. I've never done a show like this with filling in for Larry, so I had an absolute blast. We'll do this again soon. I hope you'll join along with me. Please follow me on Twitter, The Bird Words. The Bird Words. There's a story to that. Maybe I'll get to it next week. A different life. I was a bird. Yeah, I was a professional mascot for 13 years for the Washington Nationals. It was a bird. I wanted to get the bird is the word. It was taken already, so I went with The Bird Words. So please give me a follow. I'd love to interact with you, follow you back, and let's do this again on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hug the ones you love. Take care.